Welcome to TTP, Turnbuckle Talk Podcast. You're listening to Kieran Cooper and John Dugan. This podcast is sponsored by Dirty Blondes. Dirty Blondes is a bar located in the heart of Blackpool, famous for their banging tunes, cocktails and 18-inch pizzas. The only place to get a pizza as big as your table across the Fylde Coast. If you're ever in Blackpool, check them out. They're on Facebook and on Instagram. That's Dirty Blondes Blackpool. Let's talk wrestling. Welcome to TTP, Turnbuckle Talk Podcast. Welcome to TTP, Turnbuckle Talk Podcast. You're joined with Kieran Cooper and John Dugan, and today we've got a special guest, Chris Hodkin.
Hi guys, how are we doing?
Hello. So,
you're right.
Chris, just tell people a little bit about yourself. I know you have a bit of a basketball background, and me and John don't know particularly that much about basketball. So just tell us kind of your background and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my background is sports. Before I started watching wrestling and getting into wrestling, I've always been into basketball. When I was in high school, I started playing football, and I was probably the worst football player you've ever seen in your life. I tried out for the team probably for about 2 years straight, from year 7, year 8, and never made the team ever. I was always the goalkeeper because I was always out of shape and I didn't like running. So probably explains a lot there. And then as I started to get a bit older, I kind of found basketball. And once I found basketball, it just kind of stuck with me, and I'm getting in really good shape from doing that. And I played that. I've been playing that now for the past 14 years. I've been playing it. I played it all over the UK. I've travelled to Italy. I coach Americans every summer that come across to the UK. I coach basketball camps every summer. I played in the England's National League, and I played in the Pro League in England, which is the British Basketball League. In 2015, 2016, I played for the Manchester Giants in the British Basketball League. When I've been in National League, I've won National League Division 3, the National Shield, things like that. So I've always been quite a sporty person, to be honest. Obviously, at the moment with lockdown, this is the longest time I've gone without playing basketball. Probably about I think my last competitive fixture I played in was January. The last competitive fixture I played in was in January. So obviously, longest time I've gone without touching the basketball or really doing any sports.
Yeah, wow. So you've done quite a lot then.
Yeah. I've been around for a while, and then obviously as I've got older, and then in my late teenage years, in my early 20s, I kind of tried other different sports. I played American football in the British National League for a bit in American football. Played the Lancashire Wolverines there in the Premiership, and I've tried football. I came back to football a little later, just kind of recreationally, and I was a bit better than when I was younger, mainly because I was in shape more than anything, and I could actually run this time, so it wasn't so bad. But yeah, and then other than when I was younger and I was filming wrestling videos in my back garden, that's probably about as much sport as I've got into.
Well, it's weird because since meeting you, I didn't know how big the actual English basketball scene was. Yeah,
it's growing. It's growing, especially this year. It's got quite a lot more funding behind it, and it's always been kind of like a second. It's always been kind of like a second or third tier within Europe, because obviously Spain's really good basketball. You've got Spanish basketball, Italian basketball. They're all at the top leagues and things like that. And then also you go as far out, and you've got Turkey and Israel. They've got big basketball leagues, and you very rarely get many people that play within the British Basketball League. So when I made the team, I was at the very bottom of the bench. I scraped my way onto the roster, sort of thing. And like, you can only have, in the British Basketball League, you can only have 4 Americans on your squad. You can only have 4 American players on your squad. You're not allowed anymore. The rest has got to be European or British. So it's growing over these last couple of years. There's been more money put into it, and I think there's now 4 purpose-built basketball facilities, because obviously the teams don't have purpose-built venues. They play out of universities, most of them. But Leicester Riders is probably the biggest British team at the moment. They're the oldest British team. They've got their purpose-built facility. So does Newcastle Eagles. They've got theirs, and Manchester Giants getting theirs built soon as well. So there's going to be 4 or 5 purpose-built basketball facilities in the UK now. So it is starting to get a bit bigger, yeah.
Does it get shown on TV quite a lot, or is it quite hard to see?
That's always been one of their challenges, to be honest. One of their challenges has been finding TV deals and sponsorships. In the 90s, it was huge. It was on TV all the time. It was on Sky Sports. Manchester Giants played out the MEN, and they sold out the MEN. And now a lot of British basketball struggles at the moment to sell out 4,000, 5,000 seats, but it used to sell out the MEN and stuff. So But last season there was some games on the BBC Sport on the red button, and then there was also a couple of games that were featured on Sky Sports, and now Sky Sports have kind of picked up a little more. You'll see it more on Sky Sports News and stuff. And they'll air like the cup finals and stuff like that more than regular season. But it's always been like a battle, to be honest, over the last 5 to 6 years of trying to get these TV deals. And when they do get them, it's on the red button or so. And so hopefully now with the league picking up and more money being put behind it, they'll be able to get some more.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, like basketball it seemed to be quite popular over here, like you said, in the 90s. But what do you think caused that to dwindle down a bit then? Because it used to be, I remember watching it on TV, like normal TV.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be shown as much.
To be honest, no, it doesn't. I think, to be honest, there's a lot more things with it going on to, and obviously in the 90s, there wasn't so much of Sky Digital, pay-per-view, sports, extra packages, things like that. You had a lot less channels, and obviously you try and get more content throughout those channels to try and fight up through the channels. But now there's just so many channels, and there's so many sports that are shown on TV that they take the ratings from it. So if you were to put basketball on at the same time, so for example, there was basketball fixtures on Saturdays and Sundays and Friday nights. But Saturdays and Sundays, you've got the Premier League, you've got all the football leagues. You put it on, it's just not going to compete with any of those.
Yeah.
So I think that's why channels are kind of reluctant to pick them up at the moment, because they're just not going to pick up the viewership competing against the other sports that are being able to be shown.
Now, as a basketball fan and a wrestling fan, when you do your coaching or you're playing, do you ever kind of have any wrestling songs as an entrance, or do you ever get wrestling into basketball?
Into a little way. So a lot of it, I've got a lot of friends that I play with. So I played for the last two or three seasons ago. We started Blackpool's National League team, which was the first time Blackpool had a National League team in basketball since, I think it was the early 2000s. And we travelled all. We did really well. We finished joint second in Division 4, which is a division that you automatically join when you come in. And we finished joint second there. And we travelled all across the UK to Huddersfield, York, and different places like this. And there's quite a few people in there which were wrestling fans as well. So obviously, trash talk would come out all the time in forms of wrestling and different things like that. So maybe like someone had turned to me, for example, one of my friends had turned to me and says, "Oh, do you think it'd be better to run this play?" And then it doesn't matter what you think out of nowhere, sort of thing. So you get kind of a lot of trash talk coming in through there. And then obviously with like pre-game warm-ups, everybody has their own headphones and different songs and things like that. But yeah, there's always a few of the entrance teams that make it into my pre-game warm-ups.
Yeah, and growing up, who kind of was your favorite wrestler growing up? Who stuck out?
So I didn't really find wrestling until maybe I think 2004. I'm going to say is when I started watching it really, mainly because when I was younger, like I said, I was into a lot of sports, but one of my friends was up the street. His name was Adam, and he was like one of the first guys on our street to have a PlayStation 2. Right, so we had a PlayStation 2, and he had SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth, and Just Bring It, and he had those games. And I never used to kind of understand. I used to go around and he'd be playing them, and he was into wrestling sort of thing. And then like I started playing with him one day and playing these games, and I just really got into these games, started enjoying these games. Well, I'd never seen it on TV. I'd never seen it on TV. I think it was could have been Sky One at this point. It could have been when it was on Sky One in 2004. And it just so happened I was at my dad's. We had the PlayStation, and we were playing on Just Bring It. I think it was Just Bring It or Shut Your Mouth or whatever. And then we were flicking through the channels, and then I recognised one of the wrestlers. I think it was Tajiri. I recognised Tajiri, one of the wrestlers, and it was on Sky One, and it was wrong. We just started watching it, and ever since then I carried on trying to kind of pick it up and follow it through from there. I think the first kind of like pay-per-view era that I kind of watched was kind of Taboo Tuesday 2004. I think that might have been my first pay-per-view that I actually watched the day after it was on. So obviously I was at school, so I didn't stay up and watch it or anything. And I don't even think I had the channel at home to watch it. I had to get it off my uncle, who recorded it onto a VHS for me, and then he gave it to me, and that's how I got all my pay-per-views. So kind of my first one that I kind of got into was around Taboo Tuesday 2004, and then Survivor Series 2004 from then on. And yeah, that's kind of when I kind of got into it. But I was always, when I first got into it in 2004, it was kind of like I think Evolution was kind of quite big then. And I was always really into Ric Flair. Really, I just loved Ric Flair on a microphone, and it just stood out to me. Like I didn't know anything about wrestling. I didn't really know as much as I do now or anything like that. But Ric Flair on a mic, I just loved him when he used to speak on the mic, and just the energy that he has. When I play basketball and things like that, even when I coach, I'm a very energetic and passionate person. And I think it just I kind of probably reflected that in Ric Flair when I saw it, and he was just so loud and over the top, and he had to be noticed. And Kieran, who knows me, knows that I'm extremely loud, and a lot of the time I like to be the centre of attention sort of thing. So it's kind of like, I think I kind of associated with that. So yeah, Ric Flair was a really big, probably one of my big favourites when I first got into it in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ric Flair's as well. I think he's one of the few wrestlers that actually lives that gimmick. Like what you see on TV is probably what he's like in real life, and he's quite, like you said, he's quite loud, and he never stumbles or drops his gimmick at all, which I always think is quite good.
No, yeah. Yeah, well,
and
that's what makes
he's always had white hair.
Yeah.
I've never seen him with any other colour hair. He always looks old.
Oh yeah, when you see like clips of him from... Sorry, go on.
No, it always makes me laugh because, like you say, he's always got white hair, and usually as people get older, they get white hair. But he started off with white hair when he was younger, and then he's just got white hair as he's got older. Like my gran, she's got white hair, but she started off with blonde hair, and now she's got white hair, and it just makes me laugh.
So another thing as well, we said about Taboo Tuesday. I think it's mad that like that isn't no longer an event, especially now, because when it was Taboo Tuesday, you had to like text in, didn't you? And phones weren't really a big thing. Now social media is everything. Yeah. I don't know why they don't bring it back.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like with a Twitter poll, if you had a Twitter poll that you put up or something like that, you get the results super quick, don't you? You could even set them up going on the pre-show, and then by the first couple of matches before the show even kicks off. But yeah, I really love those. Even when it changed to, because it was Taboo Tuesday 04 and 05, and then it changed to Cyber Sunday because they moved it to a Sunday, didn't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I remember, because like you said, you have to text in, but then also like I think that was the early state. Like if you had the internet, you have to connect to your internet, but you couldn't use your phone and go online to the old website and vote for one of them. You know what I mean? It was such a massive effort to do.
What I like about them as well is like, they really wasn't scripted, so whatever was voted for was what they actually put on the show. Like they didn't just get people to vote, but still chose what they wanted. So it was always like you could get a real surprise from who was actually on the card, which you did. I think it was quite a few surprises in there, weren't there?
For me, getting into wrestling at that time as well, obviously that kind of reinforced the fact of how it was kind of. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't as fixed as it is, you know what I mean? Or as people predetermined. You couldn't tell that then, because when I got into it around then, the first thing I saw was Taboo Tuesday 2004. So people were trying to tell me, oh, they've already all the winners, they've already picked the winners. I'm like, how can you already pick the winners when they don't know who's in the match? Because that was obviously the first interview that I've seen. So it was kind of like reinforcement to me that it was, you know what I mean? So it was probably a good pay-per-view for me to start with, to be honest. Kind of,
definitely.
Yeah, it was kind of like one of them small ones.
John,
I think
what was your first pay-per-view?
I remember.
What was your first pay-per-view?
I think mine was Royal Rumble. That I watched live. Yeah. It was Royal Rumble because it was shown on Channel 4, and it's the one with The Rock won it. And I just remember, because I remember the build-up with like Cactus Jack and against Triple H in the street fight, and again, I was just starting to watch it again, and when they were saying street fight, I thought they were going to be like on the street fighting. I didn't realise what a street fight was, so I was expecting to be like fighting in New York, going around all New York and fighting, but obviously it's just like a hardcore match. But I watched that, and ever since then I was like pretty hooked with it.
Mine was 99 Royal Rumble. That's when I watched live.
Yeah, so 99, you're probably, so that, like I say, I got into it probably about 5 years after you then, do you know what I mean? So yeah.
It's because I had older brothers. My older brothers used to watch it, and then just every Saturday it was just on SmackDown. And,
Just got used to it. Well, I think it was like you said, like you were saying, John, like you watched it on Channel 4. I think that's how easily accessible it was to find it. Do you know what I mean? Imagine a Royal Rumble being on Channel 4 now.
It's just,
It's the mad thing. It was live until the adverts. So then the adverts, it would be like 15 minutes delayed until the next adverts would be half an hour delayed. Yeah.
But that didn't, at the time, it didn't matter because you weren't getting spoilers, so you wouldn't be on Facebook and seeing what's happening. Yeah. There was no way of you knowing what's about to happen, so it didn't really matter. But the way they did it was always quite good.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely.
I think.
That's kind of when I got into it. So.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just saying, I think with the video games, is a big reason why a lot of people did get into it as well, because it was obviously, it's quite a mainstream game for people, and they were like, you pick these characters and you actually see that they're real people and they're doing these sort of matches all the time on TV. Definitely brought in that sort of, because the games were good games to play. They weren't that difficult at the time. I think they're a bit harder now to play. But back then it was games. Games was just there to be played. They weren't like too complicated.
No, yeah.
So yeah, I think that got a lot of fans in as well with the games.
Yeah, definitely. Well, me and Kieran, we played one the other day, and it reminded me of how, like, when you put your PS2 in and you put the game in, how much content is actually on the game. Because obviously now you've got online, and these companies trying to make money, and you pay for extra downloads, you pay for like the extra edition when you get all the extra characters. And like with the early games, there was none of that. You just had everything, and there was just so much to do on that one game. And for me, it taught me so much about wrestling, because everything was on there. Everything that was on that game I could find. I could, like I say, flip the channel over. Oh, there's Tajiri. I can go and play as Tajiri. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. It was all in one place, and it was all very like very, very structured and easy to find.
And there were matches that like don't even exist anymore. There were lumberjack match. There was the 6-man tag, 4-man tag. There was bras and panties match on this game. Like so many different like games and content, like you said.
I remember as well. I used to go and it was when internet was sort of early. It would take like 5 minutes for a page to load, but you could actually get like how to make certain wrestlers that weren't on the game, and it would tell you how to make them and actually make them look like it. I used to spend hours just like making like random celebrities or. Do you know what I mean? It used to be. You'd be able to spend hours on it, but you play it now and it's nothing like that.
No, it was dead. It was dead. Like you'd have to go on the face, and there'd be 10 different like numbers for the face depth and everything.
Yeah.
Change it all go along. I used to remember finding the same patterns. It always used to frustrate me though that you couldn't add your own music. So I'd make all the characters that I wanted to play as, and it didn't have the music on it. It would really frustrate me. It was just a little thing. So much so that when the Xbox 360 came out, and I got the wrestling game on Xbox 360. That's when you could add your own music in, because as long as you had the song on your 360, you could add the music from your playlist. So it gets to a point where I'd make all these wrestlers, and then I have to go and get their songs, put them on a CD, put the CD into the Xbox, save all these songs onto the Xbox just so I can have their entrance music for the brief 20 seconds of touring.
Like, trying to turn your CD onto your Xbox.
God.
Yeah, it was stressful.
Honestly, like, kids have it so easy now. Like, everything's just on their phone. Everything, you know what I mean? You wouldn't think, like, it. I don't think they would survive, when we were growing up. I know it sounds like
I know what you mean.
But I think it's completely true.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Especially going through LimeWire, trying to download all those songs, and then having to think you found them all, and then it's not the song, it's just that stupid build.
The amount of times I downloaded, and I mean this, I downloaded a song or a movie, and it turned out to be porn.
That old story, is it?
It's happened again.
Yeah, I think Molly's just walked in the room, and that's why you're trying to take an action.
But yeah, couldn't you believe, like, I'm almost 30 years old. It's crazy. That's my little segue into the Undertaker is now 30.
I like it there. That was good.
It wasn't a great segue, I'm not going to lie. But I just think it's mad that the Undertaker obviously debuted 30 years ago. It's just mad. Like, considering all the characters and kind of additions he's had.
Yeah, definitely.
He's always fit. He's always fitted in as well, hasn't he? He's not been like out of place, I don't think.
No, yeah, he's adjusted. He's adjusted to as the times go on, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I think obviously, I'm assuming you guys have watched obviously the Undertaker documentary that's on the network at the moment, and it just goes to show how much faith he had in him as a worker for him to come forward and say, I want to change my gimmick this way, and I think this will work, and for them to put that trust into him, sort of thing.
Yeah, the documentary for me is amazing because you realise how good he is at his character, because he's totally just not like that at all. He's quite a quiet, sort of quiet-spoken guy, and then you couldn't imagine the character he's playing. It's just unbelievable.
No, yeah, and I think the way as well is, like we were saying, from when obviously he came in 1990, right up until maybe the start of 2010s, you've not really got social media there, have you? So he was one of the oldest. He was one of the oldest wrestlers to keep kayfabe the longest, wasn't he? Because he used to, like I said, he used to travel in all black and he used to fully commit to everything. And now I think, again, he's changing with the times in the fact that he's sitting down doing these documentaries, talking about these things, because he knows that that's kind of like what fans are interested in now. They're interested in the backstage aspects of it.
Yeah.
Whereas back then, the thing to do was to keep the kayfabe. They wanted to believe that the Undertaker was a real person and a real character. They wanted to believe that. But now, as obviously everything's come forward, it's just showing that he's adapting again and coming forward and changing how he's spent the first 15 years of his career talking about it, kind of.
Yeah.
I was watching a little clip today, and it was when Vader and the Undertaker went off abroad to do some like promo, and they're in this. They're in a different country anyway, and the presenter asked them if it's fake, and Vader stands up and he grabs the guy's tie, and he probably goes mad at him, and the presenter's like, "Oh my god, what did he do?" And Undertaker, like a boss, is just sat there, nice, dead cool.
I remember seeing a clip. Yeah, Vader grabs him, doesn't he? And he just grabs him and says, "Does this feel fake?" And the guy's face goes white.
Nope. But I'm intrigued to see the Paul Bearer documentary because I've not seen it yet. And Paul Bearer is one of the people that I actually don't know that much about. I mean, I know he travelled with Undertaker all the time, and Vince McMahon offered to get him liposuction because he was heavily overweight and he was really unhealthy. So then they paid for his liposuction, I think, and a few years later he passed away. But he's the one person I actually don't know that much about.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't really know too much about him. There's a couple that I, obviously, because I got into it in 2004, I've gone back and I've watched a lot of stuff, and then he's one of the people I don't know very much about either.
I think he's kind of one of the characters that kept his gimmick all the way through as well. So, he was never another character. The only stories I've heard is
that high-pitched voice, and he's just a strange little guy, isn't he?
I've only heard stories about him winding up the Undertaker because apparently the Undertaker's afraid of cucumbers. Have you ever heard that story?
No, I've not heard
it. For some reason, the Undertaker doesn't like cucumbers. So Paul Bearer used to put him in the Undertaker's like locker bag and in his locker in his shoes and to try and wind him up all the time.
How strange.
Do you think the Undertaker jumps like cats do when they see a cucumber?
That's what I'm picturing.
Well,
he's either brave or stupid. I wouldn't want to scare the Undertaker.
No, not the guy who's like the judge in the locker room when everything goes wrong, and he's the guy that's sorting things out, and then you're putting cucumbers in his shoes.
This is one thing that's amazing. So I was telling people about this, and there was like, I don't think they believe me, but backstage there used to be a lot of conflict, and the way they used to solve it is these have a wrestling court, and the Undertaker used to be the judge, the APA used to be the doorman, the bouncers, and it was something like Al Snow did something to Billy Gunn, and for the punishment, Undertaker decided that Billy Gunn had to wash all of Al Snow's gear for like a month. But I would love to be a fly on a wall during them meetings.
There's one story I've heard as well is between Chris Jericho and Goldberg, where they were fighting, and I think Chris Jericho won his case, and Goldberg had to say on air that he was like one of the best wrestlers on the roster. I'm sure it was something like that.
Brilliant. No, the one I've heard, I think it was whose podcast was I listening to. I think it was Stone Cold's podcast with Edge and Christian on it. I was listening to that, and Edge and Christian were talking about it. And there was one where I think it was where Edge was going to the courtroom. I think it was to do with WWE bringing out an autobiography, and he lied and said they were bringing out an autobiography about him, and it pissed a lot of people off in the locker room, sort of thing. So he kept it up and kept going and going, just kind of so it could be take out, and he ended up in, I can't remember how, but he ended up in the court with the Undertaker. But he always knew that everybody always knew apparently that you could buy the judge. So like he'd go to like Harley Davidson shops and buy Harley Davidson stuff and loads of different things and all the different things that Undertaker liked. And he'd go and leave them in his hotel room. And he'd leave them in his hotel room. And then he tells the story on the podcast of how like, the Undertaker just comes up to him and says, "Don't worry, I don't think you're going to be found guilty on this one," because he just filled his room with all these different things like with biker jackets and bandanas and stuff like this.
That's amazing. So end of this month, it is on the 22nd, it's Survivor Series. So I put to these two, to John and Chris, to pick 5 past or present wrestlers, male or female, that you would have in your Survivor Series team. I struggled with this, you know.
Yeah, I had in my head an idea of where I wanted to go with it. And then as I kind of started doing a bit of research and kind of looking into it a bit more, it kind of changed a bit. It kind of changed a little bit because when Kieran first asked me about this, I thought to myself, I think one of the first things Kieran said was, "Oh, you're going to want some big guys in there, aren't you?" Because obviously it's always kind of big guys. But then my memory and history of big guys has always been, whenever they're in a Survivor Series match, they don't get pinned or they don't get pinned or they don't get made to tap out. They always end up being counted out or they end up being disqualified in some way. And I think the reason that they did that is so that they can maintain their position of strength and how big and strong they are without actually losing a pinfall or a submission to a smaller guy or someone in a different storyline sort of thing. And I kind of said this to Kieran. He's like, "Oh yeah, I kind of think so." So I actually went back and looked at the countouts and the disqualifications from every Survivor Series. Now, the first countout ever in a Survivor Series match was Hulk Hogan was counted out in the main event at Survivor Series 87. Hulk Hogan was counted out there. But then I went back and I went through them, and these are some of the names of people that have been counted out, right? Braun Strowman, 2019. Nia Jax, one of the biggest women, she was counted out. Braun Strowman again in 2016. Then you've had Rusev and The Big Show both counted out in 2014. JBL, 2008. Ron Simmons, 2006. And then Big Boss Man's been counted out in 99, 88, and 89 as well. He was counted out. Bad News Brown has only appeared in 2 Survivor Series matches in his career, and he's been counted out of both of them. Earthquake has been counted out twice. Tugboat's been counted out. Animal's been counted out, and then Mabel, who was obviously Mabel before he was Viscera, he's been counted out as well. And then that's just count outs. And then you go through disqualifications, and you've got Kevin Owens been disqualified, Sheamus been disqualified, Umaga been disqualified, Gene Snitsky, and then Bradshaw as well been disqualified. And then you had Smash, Crush, Hawk, and Animal all disqualified in 1990 in the same match. And it's just like all these kind of bigger guys sort of thing. You just kind of look at it and think it's absolutely nuts. And then the other thing that I looked at as well, Andre the Giant's record in his Survivor Series matches. So this is just in Survivor Series elimination matches. Andre the Giant has won 2 and lost 1, but he's been counted out and disqualified. So in one of those, he was counted out in a win, and he was disqualified in the one that he lost. And then the only other one that he won was the main event of 87 when he was the sole survivor, and that's the only other one that he's won. So obviously he's won that first one at 87. He's been the sole survivor because he's the biggest, strongest guy. So then it comes to the next 2, and they can't have him pinned or submitted. So he's been counted out and he's been disqualified. So it was kind of like intriguing for me to kind of look through that, is just to see how many of these huge and humongous guys. And it's kind of like Kieran said to me, "You don't want these big guys." I'm looking through it. I'm like, maybe I don't want these big guys. You know,
that's what happened to me. I was like, I want some big guys, and I put on Survivor Series 2001, and the Big Show was cleaning house, and then literally out of nowhere, he gets 5 finishes. 4 finishes done at the same time.
Oh God!
Bob Van Dam does his mad.
They always have to prove a point, don't they? They have to bring down this big guy. It's going to take something, and if they can't do it, it's a disqualification or a count out. And if they can do it, it's like you say, it's 4 finishes, and it's got to be kind of like a team effort. So it's not very often you get these huge guys being a sole survivor on a team. So I pulled up. I've got a list of the people that have been sole survivors. So Randy Orton's been a sole survivor, Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Dolph Ziggler. So they've all been sole survivors. So it was
Dolph Ziggler had an amazing one. He took out 3 different opponents from the other team, didn't he?
Yeah. So I'll start us off with our all-time 5 with probably the most controversial one. Right. I'm going to tell you now. I originally in my All-Star 5 for a Survivor Series elimination match, I had Shawn Michaels in there, right? So I had Shawn Michaels in there, and the reason I had Shawn Michaels in there is because he's tied in first place for the most ever appearances in a Survivor Series elimination match. He's had 11 elimination matches, right? Now he's only won 5. He's only been on a winning team 5 times, and he's lost 6 times, right? And he's also got third most eliminations, so he's eliminated 12 people off the opposite team. So I was going to think, yeah, I'm going to put him in there. And then obviously I looked at this list and saw, oh, Dolph Ziggler, he's been a sole survivor, but he's been a sole survivor twice. Shawn Michaels hasn't done it once. So I thought, you know what, I'll look at Dolph Ziggler's record. Now, this is Dolph Ziggler's record in Survivor Series matches. He's 5-0. He's 5-0. He's never lost a Survivor Series elimination match. He's been a sole survivor twice. In the first one, he was a sole survivor after pinning Randy Orton for the win in 2012, when the year before that, he was eliminated by Orton within a minute and 30 seconds in 2011. So from 2011 to 2012, he's then the sole survivor, eliminating Randy Orton. And then in 2014, which is the one I think Kieran, you're on about, when he had the stupidly impressive one.
Yeah.
He was, he eliminated the last 3. He was down 3-1. He eliminated Kane, Luke Harper, and Seth Rollins, and then he's come through and won that as well. So then I was looking through this, and then he was pinned in 2018 by Shane McMahon, and that's it. But he was still on the winning team, so he's actually 5-0. So then I looked back at it and I thought, right, Dolph Ziggler's 5-0. He's been a sole survivor 2 times on it. He's got the same amount of wins in the matches as Shawn Michaels does with none of the losses. So it was probably the most controversial one of the day. But I bumped Shawn Michaels is not in my all-time 5 for a Survivor Series elimination match. Dolph Ziggler takes first place on my team.
No, I think you've made your point. I think you've been right there.
Yeah, well, just before
goes, I've got Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I know it. But just to clarify, by the way, before anyone gets on me, he does have 1 loss in a Survivor Series match. However, he wasn't Dolph Ziggler. He was Nikki of the Spirit Squad, and he lost. Yes. he lost to Ric Flair. He lost to Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ron Simmons, and I think it was Sergeant Slaughter. In one of the only 2 times Ric Flair has been the sole survivor.
His costume was awful, that cheerleader.
He was horrendous, absolutely horrendous.
John, who have you got first?
I went with I've gone with The Rock. Because I always remember The Rock being quite good in Survivor Series. I think he was a sole survivor once as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think The Rock.
I'm sure he was.
He might have done. I think I've got the top 5. So I've got the top 5. I've got him down. Yeah, I've got the top 5 one, so I can't see. He does have most. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, he has twice. 1996, 2001. Yeah,
yeah,
96, 2001. He's got. He's been a sole survivor twice. It's just it baffles me that it's just that list, isn't it? So like you said, The Rock's on there. So you pick The Rock, who's a sole survivor twice. You've got The Rock, Hogan, Flair, Ultimate Warrior, Randy Orton, and then Dolph Ziggler just in there. You know.
Dolph Ziggler's a weird one because he's so hit and miss, isn't he, as a wrestler?
Yeah.
And one of them you're on about is when Sting came in, isn't it? I'm sure it would be.
Yeah.
Who's sole survivor?
Could have been, yeah. It could have been, yeah. I have to admit, I didn't go back and watch them all after I spent a good few hours going through all of the results of every Survivor Series that's been since 1987.
Yeah. I mean, he did have an amazing match during that one, and then Sting came in and because he was starting to get cheated by a sledgehammer and Triple H, as you do. And he came in, but he had eliminated, I'm sure it was 3 or 4 people. Yeah, The Rock. I think The Rock's... Because I always remember watching The Rock in Survivor Series, and any match he's in, he's always a bit... You don't expect him to lose many matches that you watch him in.
No, you don't. You don't at all.
For my first one, this might seem like a riddle, but let me state my argument. I've gone with Shane O'Mac.
Good choice.
I'll tell you why. So I think it was when was it? Oh God, what year was it now? It was 2001. It was the Elite. No, sorry, it was the Alliance versus
Team WWF.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it here. Yeah, it was Chris Jericho, Big Show, Kane, The Rock, and The Undertaker taking on the Alliance, which was Booker T, Kurt Angle, RVD, Shane and Stone Cold.
Now,
Yeah.
I was watching
What
that.
match that is.
The amount of times Shane McMahon interrupted the pin was ridiculous. At one point, the Undertaker was like, "I've had enough," and he went chasing after Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon did everything he could to stop that free count happening. He was just an animal, kept sliding in the ring, interrupting it. Shane McMahon is a person that you want on your team because he will literally do anything for the win. This is a guy that flies across the ring and kicks his dad in the face.
Yeah.
Like, he bought the rival company to his dad. This is the man you're on the team. He'll do anything for the win. Shane McMahon is just, he might not be a sole survivor, but he's gonna help you out, isn't he?
You're right. He is going to help you out, Kieran. But just looking through his stats now, he's actually only 1-3 in Survivor Series matches. That Alliance match that you're talking about, he actually lost. That was the one, obviously, where The Rock was the sole survivor. And then the only one that he actually won was when he was part of Team SmackDown. That's when he won. Let's pull this up. He was in 2016. He was part of Team SmackDown with AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, and it was with James Ellsworth, so that made all the difference, clearly.
Still winning
so he actually only won a free. So you're right. He is a good pick. However, I'm gonna think that John's pick of The Rock and my pick of Dolph Ziggler at the moment have got your Shane O'Mac based on his stats.
Okay,
I am a stat man, Kieran.
Okay. Right.
I love Shane O'Mac though. He's one of my favourites. But
Chris, who have you got next?
I think he's better on his own.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. So, okay then, if we're going to go, you say who you got next, Kieran? I'm going to go for my second one.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously, my first one, I've got Dolph Ziggler, right? So I'm going to go with, now this is my next one. So I told you I wasn't looking at big guys. And then I found this big guy's record and I thought, reading through stats, basing my whole team off stats, performances and things like that, I like to kind of scout my guys.
You're going to say Kane.
So I'm not going to say Kane. However, a little interesting fact about Kane. Kane has appeared in Survivor Series elimination matches under 3 different names. Under 3 different gimmicks he's been in matches.
So
he's been
Commissioner Kane?
Nope. One of them was Kane.
Yeah.
One of them was Ivan Yankin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then he also appeared as Diesel.
Fake Diesel.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
Interesting.
He wasn't called
I don't know
Diesel,
that.
was he? He was just Diesel. Yeah. So he's actually.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He appeared as Diesel, Ivan Yankin, and then obviously he's been himself Kane. So he's actually second. It would be third because Shawn Michaels and Randy Orton are both tied for most Survivor Series matches with 11 each. But Kane's been in 9 Survivor Series matches. He's only won 3. He's won 3, lost 5, and then one of them ended in a no contest. And it was the one where he was Diesel, where it ended in a no contest. I think it was 6 out of the 8 participants all got disqualified at once, and it was declared a no contest. I think it was in could have been 96, I think it was. I wrote it down earlier. Could have been 96, it ended in no contest. But no, I'm not going to say Kane, Kieran, but there's your nice little fact for you on Kane.
Go on then.
Nice little fact for you. So, my big man that I'm including is The Big Show. And now, I'm going to have The Big Show in my team because The Big Show is renowned for not having a very good record in WWE.
Yeah, that's why I've not picked him.
Yeah, unanimous loser. His most winning pay-per-view is Survivor Series. He has won 8 times at Survivor Series, and that's his most. That's most any pay-per-view for The Big Show. And in Survivor Series matches, he's actually participated in 8 Survivor Series matches, and he's 5-3. So he's been on the winning team. So he's got a winning record in Survivor Series elimination matches, and he also holds the second most eliminations in WWE history with 13. So he's knocked out 13 different participants. But the biggest thing that stands out for me is the record for a Survivor Series elimination match. The shortest match is 1 minute and 26 seconds, and it was a 1-on-4 handicap match, and it was The Big Show taking on Big Boss Man. I think it was Midian, Prince Albert, and Viscera. He eliminated all 4 in 1 minute and 26 seconds in the quickest Survivor Series elimination match.
How is that even possible?
It was a Survivor Series 1999, and the final one was I think it was actually one of Big Boss Man's countouts. I didn't watch the match. I didn't watch the match back, but if I remember, I think it was he pinned the first 3, and Big Boss Man either walks off or he knocks him out of the ring. It was one of those 2. But yeah, so he finished it with Big Boss Man with the count out, and he won it in 1 minute and 26 seconds. So in regards to everything of what I've just said regarding big men who get counted out, disqualified, everything like that, and Kieran even said the Big Show got 4 finishes to him. I feel like Big Show is my best bet on all of the big men. I'm gonna put the Big Show in my all-time Survivor Series team alongside Dolph Ziggler.
Okay. I disagree. I think. John, you got number 2.
See, mine aren't on results too much, but they have took part in Survivor Series. I'm going to go with Bret Hart, because in his day he was pretty good, especially in Survivor Series matches.
Yeah.
I think I don't like what he's turned into now. He's not that nice a guy, but like at the time he was a pretty decent wrestler.
Yeah, but you don't need nice guys. People who are going to get the win for you.
Well, he's a good technical wrestler, isn't he? You need somebody technical in there, I feel. I've got like my showman in The Rock, and then I'd have Bret Hart as my technical sort of submission guy.
See, I was looking at results, but I was like, you can't tell. Results don't really matter, really, because anything can happen. What you need is somebody with a great heart, determination. That's why Shane, and then my next pick, right? This is going to throw you out. Is Keith Lee. Now,
okay,
right. Stop a minute now, Chris. Right, because his Survivor Series debut. When he was against Roman Reigns, it was him and Roman Reigns were at the end. His Survivor Series match was unbelievable, and he held his own against these big wrestlers. He held his own against Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. He is basking in his glory. He is just. I think he will go because he has something to prove. So he will go the 10th a dozen to do what he can. Him and Shane together would smash it.
Okay, I see what you're saying, Kieran. However, my argument is going to be that when 3 people are on a podcast in 20 years' time and Keith Lee has actually done something at Survivor Series, they can then put him on their all-time team. I don't understand how you put Keith Lee on the all-time Survivor Series team when he's had 1 match and it was a loss.
No, but that's the thing, though. I can see potential.
He tried.
He
tried.
He tried.
Kieran's put together his potential Survivor Series team.
This isn't just about him by himself. I think my team together, him, Shane McMahon, and the other wrestlers have got, make the ultimate fraction.
Right. Okay. Fine. That's fine. Well, let me know when you get a visit from Kieran from the future and he does tell you that Keith Lee is actually one of the all-time Survivor Series contestants.
I don't think he will be.
Yeah, I think he'll do. I don't know really. I don't know really, to be honest with you. I didn't really. Once you sent the task to me of like kind of picking like the all-time best Survivor Series team sort of thing, I kind of went back and looked at what's happened so far, and you're right. I think he does have really good potential, and I think he will. He could go quite far, depending on obviously how he's used and how and how I think Keith Lee's one of them guys that kind of he would be a lot further along where he is now if there was a crowd. If there'd been a crowd for about 6 to 8 months, especially when he's made his jump up to the main roster, I think he'd have been pushed a bit more.
Yeah, no, I agree. To be fair.
Yeah, definitely think what he is.
Is he in this year's?
So far.
Sorry, is he in this year's Survivor Series? I haven't watched this week.
I think, yeah, he's in the team, isn't he? Yeah, I'm sure he's in the team.
So we'll see. We'll see how hard he tries.
Well, honestly, right, Keith Lee will be the sole survivor, and I'll be like basking in his glory.
Yeah. So he is. He's in Team Raw. It's AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, and Braun Strowman. And
he's in the Raw team, which can I just point out as well? Do you know what the record for Raw and SmackDown is?
I actually don't, and I've looked at all the stats, and I don't know that record.
John, do you want to have a guess?
I would guess Raw's one more. Is the show in it? How many has there been?
Well, I can tell you. I don't know how many of these were Raw versus SmackDown, because obviously Raw and SmackDown didn't split until later on. But I do know through 1987 to 2019, there has been 85 Survivor Series elimination matches. and only 8 of those were women's matches. So only out of those 85 Survivor Series elimination matches, only 8 of them have been women. So the rest were all men's matches. And obviously, you have to take into account the first, I think it was 3 or 4 pay-per-views. Every match was a Survivor Series elimination match.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say when did the Raw and SmackDown split start?
It was the first one was 2001.
2001. Okay, well, 2002 there was no Survivor Series matches because they had the Elimination Tables match and the Elimination Chamber in 2002. So the first split was 2001, and then there was no Survivor Series matches in 2002. I'm going to say, so you've got the last 17 years, really, haven't you? And it usually averages out maybe 1 a year, 2 a year. So I'd probably make my guess out of 17, really. I'd probably say Raw's probably. I'm going to go 10-7. Raw's won 10, SmackDown's won 7.
I don't think it was 2001 because actually 2001 was the Alliance. That was
I don't think that's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Well,
what's the total number you've got, Kieran?
What's that?
Give us the total number that you've got. So add up the Raw and SmackDown wins together. Give us the total number, and then we'll have a guess.
Okay, so 24.
24. I'm gonna go with 15 and 9.
John?
I'm gonna say 20 and 4. I reckon Raw's won quite a lot.
One here is right. Slap bang on the money. Raw 15, SmackDown 9. There you go.
That was a pretty good guess. But yeah, so I see what you're saying about him being on a Raw team. They've still got one more precedent for him to pick to actually add it to the team because it is a 5-on-5 match. Raw's got AJ, Keith Lee, Sheamus and Braun Strowman. And to be honest, based on my history, Braun Strowman and Sheamus both going to get counted out or disqualified. So it's just going to be Keith Lee and AJ Styles and this third guy. So
Keith Lee will slash and have like, you did me proud. You did me proud.
Yeah, he will be. He will be. I've told you, we can put him on the all potential Survivor Series team if you want. Absolutely fine.
Where are we up to? Right.
So I've got Dolph Ziggler and I've got the Big Show. I think John's got The Rock and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And then you've got Shane McMahon and Keith Lee.
Yeah.
So
let's go for your number 3.
Okay, let's go for our number 3. Well, I can see that you're letting your daughter pick yours, Kieran. So I'm going to go for. So my next one is probably it's going to be an obvious one. However, it probably isn't an obvious one when it comes towards Survivor Series elimination matches. But I'm picking The Undertaker. So I'm going to take The Undertaker. So obviously The Undertaker debuted at them, and now The Undertaker has won the more matches than anyone else at Survivor Series. Out of 14 appearances, he's won 12 matches. 12 of the 14 times he's won. He's participated in 4 Survivor Series matches, and he's won all 4 of them. He's not lost one. Now he got eliminated by Kurt Angle in one, which is kind of interesting because Kurt Angle's history in Survivor Series matches is not very good. He's only 2-2. But so he got eliminated by Kurt Angle. He got counted out in 1990. He got counted out in 1993, and then in 1995, he survived. It was a full surviving team. His entire team survived. But I just want to point out his 1995 match because this is the one that kind of the sinker for me. So obviously he's got the most wins out of any other WWE wrestler at Survivor Series. The next closest person to him is Randy Orton with 8. But his Survivor Series elimination match in 1995 was he eliminated Jerry Lawler. He then eliminated Isaac Yankem, also better known as Kane. He eliminated Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and then he eliminated Mabel, known as Viscera. So 4 pretty big names, and he eliminated Jerry Lawler with pinfall, Isaac Yankem by pinfall, and then Triple H by pinfall, and then he counted out Mabel, and it was Undertaker that got all 4 of the eliminations, and the match lasted 14 minutes. So based on all of that, I'm going to put the Undertaker as on my all-time team as the third member of my all-time team.
Okay, John.
I had Undertaker in mind, but I'll pick someone else.
No, you can put him on as well because obviously you've got.
I had a few because it's quite hard to pick 5. So there's more. I picked more than 5 just because I was guessing people would pick similar choices. I'm gonna say. Well, yeah.
You're going to take her out and put Keith Lee in.
See the next one. I'm not his biggest fan, but I think he'd bring a lot to the team. and I know he's Kieran's favourite, and
Did you pick
that's
Cesaro?
John Cena.
Oh, I think.
What do you think I was going to say?
Cena.
Cesaro.
Oh no. Has Cesaro been in
I had
it?
a look at John Cena as well. I was going to go into. He's actually done really well in Survivor Series elimination matches. He's 4-1, and he's actually only ever been eliminated once out of those 5 matches.
Well, there you go. I think that was the Dolph Ziggler year. It would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it was as well. Yeah, because he was part of Team Angle. He was part of Team Angle in 2003. He was part of Team Guerrero in 2004, and then in 2006, it could have been. I don't know if he was part. He could have been part of Team. I think it was 2006. It was a mixture between SmackDown, Raw, and ECW because he was on a team with Bobby Lashley, Kane, RVD, and Sabu. So, and then he's got a couple. He won in 2014 as part of Team Cena, and then he lost his Team SmackDown in 2017, and that's his only loss that he's had. So I looked at Cena. I think Cena's a good pick.
I think as much like I said, I'm not his biggest fan, but I appreciate what he does in the ring. Yeah. And he's that character that everyone, you either love or you hate him. Well, I hated him, but I would have him in my team.
I think he's a good pick. I think he's a good pick. So
the
Rock,
my next choice.
A solid team. And then we're going over to Kieran now.
No, you're like this one, right? So I've picked a person, but I'm picking him in 2000 to 2002, that kind of era.
Right.
I've gone with Triple H.
Okay.
Triple H is a man that gets stuff done. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever means necessary. Like, and he's what you want with Shane and Keith Lee.
I feel like you're kind of picking him now to kind of bump up the rest of your team.
I'm not. Isn't.
You should written that.
No, screw no. Yeah. So yeah, Triple H, especially in that like them kind of years of 2000 to 2003, whatever. He was so aggressive, and I think he's done quite well in Survivor Series.
He's actually. I'm just looking at it now. As Triple H, he's 3-2.
Yeah,
he's 3-2 as Triple H, and then when he was down as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, he wasn't as good as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He lost twice as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, which was one of them was obviously the one I just talked about in 1996 with the Undertaker, and then he lost in '95 as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. But then, like when he was Triple H's, I remember he was part of Team Triple H in 2004, Batista, Edge, Gene Snitsky, and Triple H with Ric Flair at ringside. They lost to Team Orton because that was right after that was all the fallback from the Heavyweight Championship, wasn't it? Randy Orton's Heavyweight Championship. So he lost there, and then he won as part of Team DX. Part of Team DX in 2006 when he had CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, and Matt Hardy himself, and Shawn Michaels, and he beat Rated RKO. Look at this, by the way. My girlfriend said, "Oh, you should put Edge on your team," and I thought, "Oh, I do like Edge. I'll have a look at Edge." Edge has not won a single Survivor Series match. He's 0-4, and he's been eliminated in every single one. He's not the best. He's not the best choice for a Survivor Series team, but I'm going to give it an honourable mention because I told my girlfriend I would. And,
it's mad that Survivor Series is the one pay-per-view that has had the most title changes ever.
Yeah.
I just think it's mad.
Yeah, well, you think though, there's just so many. There was the year because there's only ever been two years of Survivor Series when there hasn't been a Survivor Series elimination match. And obviously, one was 2002 that I mentioned before when you had the Elimination Chamber with Shawn Michaels, and it was for a vacant title. And then the only other time there's not been any Survivor Series elimination matches is in 1998. And I don't know if you remember it or if you've been back and seen it, but they had a knockout tournament, and they had a big knockout tournament. It was for the vacant WWF Championship. And there was a couple of, so like you had Steve Regal versus X-Pac, which ended in like a count out and stuff. And there was loads of these matches in this knockout tournament. It ended up with The Rock defeating Mankind for the vacant WWF Championship. I don't know if you remember it. It just always seems that it's kind of like a staple event for championship changes and, kind of like big moments sort of thing.
Especially because it leads nicely to like January to our Rumble and that kind of.
It's usually where they start like a storyline for somebody else to get someone else in the Royal Rumble, isn't it? depending on how the team's gone.
So do I get a pass on Triple H? I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, Triple H is a good choice. Triple H is a good choice. I think Shane McMahon was an okay choice as well. I didn't have a problem with Shane McMahon. He's got solid experience in Survivor Series matches. My only problem was the fact that you put Keith Lee in there, who's been in one Survivor Series match and he lost, and it was a triple threat between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Yeah, but this is about building, a new team. And Keith Lee, you know what I mean? You watch him. You watch him on Sunday.
Get absolutely squashed by Big Show if he comes up against my team.
You watch him on Sunday, right?
I will watch him.
Yeah. John, your third one.
I've said that, huh?
Oh no,
we're not on fourth.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're on fourth now. Yeah, we're on fourth.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my fourth one, it's kind of, I don't know if it's kind of an obvious one or kind of not an obvious one, but like I say, I went back through and I've been looking through all the different Survivor Series, and I'm going to go with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's going to be the fourth member of my team. He competed in the main event of Survivor Series, the first one, and he was in the first main event Survivor Series elimination match, and he's actually never been pinned. He's never been pinned or submitted. The only loss that he's got, so he's 4-1. He's competed in 5 of them. He's 4-1. The only loss he got was in the first one when he was counted out, and Andre the Giant was the sole survivor. So that's his only loss that he's got. And in his other 4, he was the sole survivor in '89. He survived with Randy Savage in '88, and then in Survivor Series 1990, he actually competed in 2 elimination matches in the same night. So the first elimination match that he competed in, he was the sole survivor of that, and then the second one was a 3-on-5 handicap match where him and the Ultimate Warrior were the 2 survivors as well. So I'm going to go with some veteran leadership. He's been there since the beginning. He knows how it goes. He knows he's got his records. He's got his wins. He's never been pinned. He's never submitted. He's never been disqualified in a isolation match. So I'm going to put Hulk Hogan in there.
I don't think that's a bad choice. Because you're talking about like Hulk Hogan, like 80s Hulk Hogan, aren't you? Yeah,
he is. So he's 87 through to 90. So yeah, prime Hulk Hogan, not 2005 SummerSlam Hulk Hogan. Talking
when he was like at his biggest.
Yeah, I'm going to talk in 24-inch pythons, saying his prayers and eating his vitamins.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad choice. I think in his heyday, he'd definitely have him. He'd be first pick probably.
Yeah,
at that time.
It would be. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, he was to be honest. When he sent me out, I hadn't really thought about Hulk Hogan. I knew I wanted some older guys in there from when it's in the original pay-per-views in '87 and through to '90. I know I wanted some of them guys in there because obviously I knew when the tape was at '90s, but I hadn't specifically thought about Hulk Hogan until I went back and looked at it. And then obviously it was his prime, so it goes to show why he never really he didn't lose in a Survivor Series match. He got carried out at 1, and that was the only loss that he had.
Okay, yeah.
Bad. So my next one, I don't know how he does in Survivor Series.
Once you say his name, I'll give it a quick search, and we'll see how he does.
It's Bray Wyatt.
Right. Bray Wyatt. This is where I have to.
Because I'm sure. Is he not in this year's?
He's been in 3.
He's
I don't know what his record is.
No, I'm pulling up his record now, but I know I'm looking at the card. He's not actually down on any. He's not actually down on any on any matches. So I think if anything, he's good. Team Raw probably, because Team Raw have still got one extra guy to be added to the team. So I reckon it could be the Fiend because obviously you've got Orton versus Reigns.
Yeah.
So yeah, he could be added to Team Raw for this year, but he's not actually on the card. Unless I'm completely wrong, and you might get tweeted at and someone will correct me. But yeah, he's not actually on the card for this one yet. But yeah, look at Bray Wyatt in the past. So he was part of Team SmackDown. There's Bray Wyatt in 2016, and he won on Team SmackDown in 2016. He was I think that's all the only ones that we've got. Yeah, that was the only match that we've got him down.
So he's only done one.
Bray Wyatt, and he's only done one Survivor Series elimination match. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if he wasn't down.
I think he's usually in like a championship match or something like that, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's what he mainly has been, hasn't he? He's mainly been in championship matches and stuff. So looking at his Survivor Series match history, he's been in one match and he's won it. So to be fair, it's a better pick than Keith Lee already.
Yeah.
Okay. I've gone with...
Oh, God.
a guy that has destroyed more people. A guy who's destroyed people in seconds.
I thought you've done Triple H.
I've gone for Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't know how I feel about him. Sometimes I think he's a proper dickhead. But if you look what he's done in ring, he's destroyed people. Like Ricochet, he destroyed him. You know, he's a beast.
So, just to clarify, you've got Brock Lesnar and Keith Lee on the same team. Do you think they can coexist? Because you were telling me that your whole team is about cohesion and being a big faction, and I don't think that Brock Lesnar and Keith Lee can coexist.
Now, listen, right? Brock Lesnar would smash everyone. Triple H would kind of get his old sledgehammer out. Shane McMahon would, be cheating. He'll be trying to interrupt the free count. You have all these dimensions. Why wouldn't it work? They've been undefeated for years and years.
Yeah, you're right. You say that as well. So just having a look back. So he's actually only featured in one Survivor Series elimination match, Brock Lesnar has. It was in 2003, and he faced Team Angle. He was with A-Train, Big Show, Brock Lesnar, Nathan Jones, and Matt Morgan. So I don't remember Nathan Jones. I don't know if either of you guys will remember him, but apparently he was an Australian powerlifting champion.
Yeah,
guy.
I remember him. He was meant to be like a prisoner that he was in prison for something. I remember seeing vignettes on him.
Yeah, it could.
I've never seen him wrestle.
Yeah, no, it was him, and that was in 2003, and that's the only match Brock Lesnar's been a part of, and they lost to Team Angle, which was Bradshaw, Chris Benoit, Hardcore Holly, John Cena, and Kurt Angle. Now, just to give me a second, Kieran, I will see if he's actually true to what he said and absolutely kicked everybody's ass. So the only person he actually eliminated was Kurt Angle after 9 minutes. That was it, and then 2 minutes later, Chris Benoit made him tap out. So in Brock Lesnar's only appearance, Kieran, he only eliminated one person, Kurt Angle, and then Chris Benoit made him tap out 2 minutes later.
Yeah, but you can't, you know what I mean? You can't judge it off old. You know what I mean? Look what he's done in ring. He is a beast. He's like a train. He'll just go through everyone.
I think he's a bit of a liability. I think he's one of them guys that's liability to be like getting disqualification. Do you know what I mean? He'll choke someone out or won't break a hold. Do you know what I mean? I think for me he'd be one of those more unreliable guys.
Oh yeah, he doesn't play well with others, does he, at all?
No, I think Kieran's right, and I think he's a good pick, and he's going to kick ass. I think Paul Heyman's going to be more as a contribution to your Survivor Series team, being at ringside with Brock Lesnar.
Well, I mean, I'm picking the Brock Lesnar that had Paul Heyman, so he comes with him.
Yeah. Well, if you want to add some managers on, we can add some managers on after. Because I've got a good pick for a manager. So once we've gone through all five, if you're going to have Paul Heyman, I've got a good pick for my manager to add on after.
Right. We're on the last one.
Yeah. So my fifth and final pick. So this was probably my easiest pick. This was the first person that came into my head when I was thinking about it and going and looking through. So the person that I'm picking, he's got the most eliminations in Survivor Series history. The most eliminations. He's also tied first with Dolph Ziggler. He's also tied first with Dolph Ziggler and Shawn Michaels for most Survivor Series elimination match wins. He's also tied first with Shawn Michaels for most appearances in Survivor Series elimination matches. But the biggest thing for me was is he's got the most sole survivor wins, and it was actually 3 years in a row. So the person I'm picking as my fifth and final member is Randy Orton. In 2003, 2004, and 2005, he was a sole survivor every single year on his winning team. And then also, he's got the second most wins at Survivor Series as a whole, only behind The Undertaker. So Randy Orton, for me, is eliminated. He's got the most eliminations. He's got the most eliminations in Survivor Series matches. He's tied for the best record at Survivor Series with, like I say, Dolph Ziggler and Shawn Michaels. And then he's going to be my guy that's fighting in the trenches. And I could absolutely leave it to him. If he's down 3-1, he's going to win because he's done a sole survivor 3 times, 3 years in a row. I think he's my solid staple of my team to round off my team.
I just want to interject because my last pick is also Randy Orton.
Oh God.
Well, you can have him as well. You can have him as well. I'm going to give you. You can have him as well, Kieran. We can both have him because what I'm going to say to you is, I think you need him based on the rest of your team. So it'd probably be a really good thing for you to have him.
No, imagine like it'll be like a ping pong ball. Our opponents will be thrown to Keith Lee, thrown to Brock Lesnar, thrown to an RKO. Shane McMahon jumps off the top rope onto the announce table. He does his big spot. It'd be amazing. The crowd will be chanting.
So you've got Randy Orton as your final pick. So we've got our 2 teams of 5, and then John, who was your final pick?
I was going to go with Chris Jericho as my last pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got a good record, but like, I think he's been in winning teams, from what I can see.
Yeah, he's been. Yeah, 2001, he was part of Team WF, and he was winning. He was a winning team there. 2003, Team Bischoff. That was when they kicked Stone Cold out and Stone Cold retired. 2003, and then he was part of Team Orton in 2004, and then he's got a winning record. He's 3-1. The only loss that he's got was when he was part of Team Raw in 2016. He was with Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman in 2016. I think that was the year that Braun got counted out, probably in 2016. Yeah, it was. But
probably.
He's 3-1. Carried Chris Jericho, Grand Slam champion as well. Good pick.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad team I've got.
No, yeah.
Chris's is pretty good as well. Kieran's it's a bit here and there.
I don't know about Kieran. Kieran's just kind of like mid-card, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you like to hear what? So I put it on Instagram. I said, who would you have on your team? And some people got back to me. Do you want to hear what the rest of the world had to say?
Yeah, let's go. Go for it.
Okay, so Big Truck on Instagram. He said,
So I've never heard of him.
The Young Bucks and Chris Jericho.
Yeah, the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch much AEW, John, or anything like that. But the Young Bucks are. I definitely have them. I definitely have them in my team.
Big Steve 101 said Evolution, just Evolution.
Yeah, solid team.
Good show.
I'm sure they had. Didn't they have I'm pretty sure they had a match as Evolution at Survivor Series.
I'd imagine so.
I don't know if I'm just thinking of. It could have just been. To be honest, I'm probably just thinking of like a random pay-per-view when they've had a 4-man tag or whatever. Because as I'm looking through Survivor Series now, the only time I can really see is was that 2004 when you had Team Orton against Team Triple H, and you had Batista and Triple H in the ring with Ric Flair ringside, and they had Edge and Gene Snitsky as well. And that's the only time I can kind of see them. They will have been there as Evolution, and they'll come out as Evolution. But obviously, it was before. That was after Randy Orton. Obviously wasn't part of it anymore. So, but I think what Big Steve was saying was the full Evolution, including Randy, if I'm not wrong.
I think that'd be a pretty good team, wouldn't it?
I think definitely.
This one's an interesting one. So this is Kofi Kingston, The New Day. Put Kofi Kingston, Ali, as in Mustafa Ali, Finn Balor, and Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I think it's a very.
It's a mixture.
I think it's a very next generation. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's a very kind of next generation pick, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got Tom Bluenose 90 said Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, 90s HBK, and Triple H. Yeah,
good picks. I think I looked at. I had a look at Chris Benoit. He's been in quite. He's been in a few of these matches. I think it was. I look at Eddie as well. And Eddie's actually only ever been in 2, and I think that's because the Survivor Series obviously in 2002 there wasn't one, and then obviously he died in 2005. He was actually part of one in 2000. He was part of Team Radicals, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and Terry Sasson. With Terry, and they defeated Billy Gunn, Chyna, Kay Quick, who's obviously now R-Truth, and then Road Dogg. So that was in 2000 then, and then the only other one that Eddie Guerrero's appeared in was when he was actually part of Team Guerrero, and it was the first. It was actually the first Survivor Series I saw this, which was Survivor Series 2004. It was Team Guerrero. It was Big Show, Eddie Guerrero, Cena, and RVD, and they beat Team Angle, which was Kurt Angle, Luther Reigns, Mark Jindrak, Carlito, and Carlito's enforcer, Jesus, if you remember him, spelt Jesus.
Yeah.
Because he was just an absolutely massive mountain of a man that used to walk around. But yeah, so those are the only two that he's actually Eddie Guerrero's been in. Because I looked at Eddie Guerrero because he's one of my favorite wrestlers as well. I really enjoyed watching him, but I just didn't remember seeing him in many Survivor Series.
Yeah, same.
So we've got two more. We've got this one from Phil 1988. His response was The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, Triple H, and Vader. Vader's a great shout.
Yeah, Vader is a great shout. He's he was a bit before my time, and I've not been back and watched too much of Vader. So I know of him, and I know kind of his style and his things like that. But I've never really been overly familiar with him. So the ones that Vader's been a part of, I think, Survivor Series elimination matches, he's been a part of two. One was in 1996, and that was the one that ended in no contest. So that was actually when you had Diesel and Razor Ramon, but it wasn't Diesel, and it wasn't Razor Ramon. It was Kane as Diesel, and I can't remember who it was that came out as Razor Ramon, but it was somebody else. It was after they just left him on WCW. But they had Diesel, Farouk, Razor Ramon, and Vader, and then it was against Flash Funk, Jimmy Snuka, Savio Vega, and Yokozuna, and that ended in no contest. And that's the one he's been in. And then the other one, it was Team Canada versus Team USA in 1997. And I don't know how the British Bulldog is part of Team Canada, but he was. So you've got Team Canada, which is the British Bulldog, Doug Furness, Jim Neidhart, Phil Lafon, and they defeated Team USA, which was Goldust, Mark Merrow, Steve Blackman, and Vader. And they had Sable with them as well, so they had their Mark Merrow over there. Those are two that Vader's have been in.
And then we've got this one from Dan RKO. And this is Goldberg, The Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, Shelton Benjamin, great shout, Randy Orton, and CM Punk. Yeah,
that's a good shout. I think I want to just briefly mention Rey Mysterio there out of that one, because Rey Mysterio was on quite a few of the lists for me that I looked at as well. So Rey Mysterio is actually, where is he? He's got 9 eliminations. So he's actually, I think it's 4. So you've got Randy Orton with most eliminations in Survivor Series elimination matches with 16. Big Show second with 13. Shawn Michaels with 12, and then you've got Rey Mysterio with 9.
Okay.
So he's actually quite up there, and I remember him distinctly being in quite a few because I think they use it in them with that underdog story in mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I never thought of Rey Mysterio. I would have picked him.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
He was on my list. But
yeah, he was on mine for a little bit. Let's just have a look through through what he's in. It's actually looking at this. It's actually been quite a few. So 2005, he was part of Team SmackDown, who defeated Team Raw, Batista, Bobby Lashley, JBL, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio. That was his first Survivor Series elimination match. And then 2007, he defeated Jeff Hardy, Kane, Rey Mysterio, and Triple H. Defeated Big Daddy V, Finlay, Mr. Kennedy, and MVP with Umaga as well, and that was a 4-on-5 one, and he won that in 2007. And then he was in the 2008. He won that one as well, so he's won 3. He's won 3 there, won 4 there. He's won 4 in 2010 as part of Team Mysterio. Team Mysterio in 2010. Big Show, Chris Masters, Kofi Kingston, MVP, and Rey Mysterio defeated Team Del Rio. And then he's got looking at this, he's got 5 wins as well. He won in 2012 with Brodus Clay, Justin Gabriel, Sin Cara, and Tyson Kidd. That's a tough team to win with. That's almost as bad as Kieran's team. That's almost as bad as Kieran's team. And then the only loss Rey Mysterio has. Yeah, the only loss that Mysterio has at Survivor Series.
I'm looking forward to Survivor Series because it's the one of the last kind of traditions that wrestling has. Obviously, they've still got WrestleMania and Royal Rumble, but there's so many pay-per-views that are so good that they've just lost. I don't think they have Backlash anymore.
No, I don't. No. I think one of the big. Sorry, John, go on.
Sorry. No, I was agreeing with you. They just give them ridiculous names now, don't they? Do you remember Great Balls of Fire a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so I didn't know what that
it's just
entails.
The worst one is Roadblock.
Roadblock is shocking.
Fastlane's up there.
Yeah.
No, a lie. The worst event I've ever seen is tables, ladders, and chairs.
And stairs.
I think the thought behind that was, so obviously you've got the Royal Rumble, and you've got Survivor Series, and those two events are based around their own matches. So the Royal Rumble is based around the Royal Rumble match, and Survivor Series has always been based around a Survivor Series elimination match. And now, there's only ever been 2 Survivor Series where they've not had one, and they've got the rest, and they've always had one. Whether it's been the first 4 years, every match was like that. And then I think these other pay-per-views that we're talking about, do you remember they had Fatal 4-Way as a pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell? They're all naming them after matches, and they're kind of trying to make it, I think they're trying to boost these pay-per-views up to kind of be like Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble, based around the matches in, everyone's dead excited for the Rumble, everyone's dead excited for the Hell in a Cell, but it's just kind of not working in the same way. And you can see
Hell in a Cell,
like Fatal 4-Way that flops and stuff.
I think Hell in a Cell never works because, like, if a Hell in a Cell match is on first on the card, not too much is going to happen to the actual cage because they're going to use it the rest of the night. You never see somebody going through the cage in the first match, so it's not going to happen. They should do it one year where that happens and the cage is like totally wrecked and they still have a match, or they try and have a match, but they never do that.
No, I agree. So I think what Kieran, I agree with what you're saying, Kieran. It's one of the things where it's kind of one of the only events that they've kind of stuck to a tradition from the very start, and they've not kind of tried to change around too much.
Elimination Chamber was a good one.
Yeah.
But they stopped that as well, I think.
Yeah, it was.
One last thing before we kind of wrap up. So, Team Raw is Keith Lee, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and plus one more to join, probably come this week. And then Team SmackDown is Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, King Corbett, I hate him, and one more. Raw, SmackDown, which one are you going with?
I think it's going to make a difference on who they add on. I think, for example, if they add the Fiend onto Raws, I think it's going to be very. I think Raw are more likely to win over SmackDown than if they had Drew McIntyre onto Raws. I could see SmackDown beating Raw if they had Drew McIntyre. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think that's all right. I think looking at these, I'm probably going to go with. Do you know what I mean? Just SmackDown's team looks so kind of. I think the only way to describe it is mid-cardy. Do you know what I mean? Like
even on the women's.
King Corbin. Do you know what I mean?
So on Raw, you have Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and Lana. And Team SmackDown is Bianca, Ruby Riott, and there's 3 more to come.
Yeah, it's kind of it's just one of those things, isn't it? Really, you just don't know. And then obviously you've got the other matches they're all going to be good matches because the champion versus champion, which also, by the way, brings me back to another pay-per-view, Night of Champions. That was a really good pay-per-view. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Night of Champions when every championship was on the line and they had champion versus champion. Even when they had, I think it was the first one. Go on. Even I think it was the first one that they had, the first time they did champion versus champion, when they had, I think it was King Booker, Big Show, and I think it could have been JBL or something. It could have been, and they had the World Heavyweight, the WWE, and the ECW all like the first one sort of thing, and that was kind of good. But like I say, look at the card, Kieran. It's just kind of mid-cardy, isn't it? You can't really see where anything's going to happen. The only thing you can see happening is the Miz cashing in because there's no championships on the line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up here. But I noticed halfway through, and I didn't tell Chris to put on one of our t-shirts, but he's wearing one of our merchandise. He's wearing our TTP t-shirts. They aren't available.
Yeah, it's the least I can do, to be honest. If you're going to invite me onto the podcast, the least I can do is put the shirt on that I bought from you. So
yeah, stand up and show us the back.
I can't really stand up because of the chair that I've got sat around, but I can just kind of give you a twist. And
there you go. Look at that. What a great t-shirt. Available small to 5XL.
Those 5XL for Keith Lee, yeah.
Chris, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I probably should wrap it up because otherwise we'll just chat for hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I appreciate having me. Thanks very much for the invite. Hope I've not overstepped my bounds telling Kieran that his Survivor Series team's awful. But hey, Kieran, the other thing you can always do is once you post the podcast, you can post a vote on social media and you can list all 3 of our teams and vote who's got the best team. If you want to do that, you can write down all 3 of our teams.
Yeah, we'll
let
do.
everybody vote and see who thinks got the best team.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank
but
you.
Who's got the worst?
Yeah. We'll see. Thank you everyone for getting in touch. You can feel free to contact us via Facebook and we're on Instagram. Like I said, any questions?
YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Now we've got our new YouTube channel. So we've just interviewed NXT superstar Sam Gradwell. which was a great interview. You need to check it out. It talks about Blackpool, talks about William Regal. It talks about his trip to China and Holland. It's a really good interview. Check it out on our YouTube channel. I'm sure John will put all our details on all our websites on the link when he posts this video.
Yeah, well,
Won't you, John?
of course.
So thank you for watching. Subscribe and like our YouTube channel. Give us a follow. Give us a like. Give us everything that
A review
on these social media websites. Yeah, give us a review. Any last words, John?
Don't vote for Kieran.
Well, I'm going for Team Raw. Hey?
You've been waiting to use that the whole time, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've been waiting to use that colour thing the whole time.
Keithley.
That down.
You reckon Team Raw?
Yeah, I'm going for Team Raw.
It's the obvious one, isn't it? I want a surprise. So I'm going to say
I
SmackDown.
do have my SmackDown foam finger. But unfortunately, it's not blue. So, it's not red, so I can't really,
Can't really use it.
So it'll be interesting to see what it's like on Sunday with the pay-per-view. Like I said, we'll post our results and stuff. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.